So how many do I have here? I've got 12. We can work through these fairly quickly, I think. So let's see if we can. Okay, so we're going to want to parse these and translate them. So let's take a look at the first one. And again, have your handouts ready. We can see what we're looking at. Repeat after me. Mith halachim. Do you see a triradical verbal root that's evident, normal, recognizable? What do you see? Yeah, halach, right? 3 root letters, triradical. Halach. And notice there's an eem on the back side of it. That would make it fairly easy to know what kind of a verbal form that is, right? You know that's what gender and number? Masculine plural. And so that is characteristic of which conjugation pattern? Only participles, right? Have just masculine plural forms. Now, in the root 2, I have a dot. What kind of a dot is that? It's a dagesh forte. So how many stems have I learned have a dagesh forte in root 2? I've learned 3 now. Piel, pual, and the Hitpael. Which one of these is it? Well, I've got to look at the rest of the verb form now, don't I? I've got an A before root 2 under root 1. That eliminates which one of these? The pual. I'm always going to have U class vowel under root 1 in the pual. But Piels and Hitpaels could have an A class vowel here. What's going to help me know the difference between these two? Yes, that infix tav. So that commits me to which one of these? The Hitpael. And this is the Hitpael chapter 2, right? Yes. Okay, and then the prefix mem along with that tav and the eem at the end, that's participial, isn't it? Okay, so this is a Hitpael participle, masculine plural, from the root halach. And how am I going to translate this? What does halach mean in the Hitpael? To walk to and fro, to walk back and forth, to walk around. So I'm going to translate this with some progressive notion since it's a participle. So walking to and fro. Okay? That makes sense? Okay, let's look at number 2. Everybody, Hitpalalti. Do you see 3 recognizable verbal root letters? Yes, Pe Lamed Lamed. Great. And so I've got T on the back side, Hith on the front side, and what's in the middle? Dagesh forte. So this could be Piel, Pual, Hitpael. With the Hith prefix, it is a Hitpael. No bones about it. That's not too hard, huh? Now, I've got a T ending. So what does that make me think the conjugation form it is for the Hitpael? Perfect. 1CS. Good. And so I know the subject is I. And what does palal mean in the Hitpael? Yeah, I prayed. Okay. Perfect will typically be past time. So I prayed. Okay. Any questions about that? We all good? Let's look at number 3. Repeat after me. Hinnava'i. Hinnava'i. Now you've got a new verb here. Might be visible. What are the root letters? Nun, Beit, Aleph. Good. Now, I have, what's in root 2? Okay. Which stems have a dagesh forte in root 2? Piel, Pual, Hitpael. Good. Which ones have a hey prefix anywhere? Only the Hitpael does. The Piel and Pual, you'll never see a prefix hey with a kirik under it in the Piel or Pual. Okay? So it's only that. But there's no tav here. So it doesn't exactly look like a Hitpael, does it? What's happening? What's going on? I've got some assimilation going on. That dot in the noon is a dagesh forte, which means it represents something that assimilated, right? It was a noon that was a tav, right? So hith nava'i became hin nava'i. And then I just write it one time. Okay, so we'll go with Hitpael. Now, look at the kirik here. So hin nava'i, nava'u, and then a shurik on the back side. What are my possibilities here? Could this be the Hitpael perfect with a shurik at the end? Okay. If it's a perfect, what's the person gender number of shurik? 3 CP. Now, could this be anything else? Okay, the Hitpael has an imperative that has a kirik under the hay as well, right? Look at your principal part. Do you see what's the Hitpael of pakad in the imperative to a mess? Hitpaked. Hitpaked. So the imperative could have a hi as well, right? Now, if it's imperative, what's a shurik telling me? If you look at your boxes, under the imperative, imperative's shurik is a 2MP form, right? Good. Is there anything else that a shurik could be doing on the backside of a Hitpael? The infinitive construct would not have a shurik as the pronominal suffix, although there are some forms of a finite verb that could take a direct object pronoun that looks like that. Yeah, so we're basically done here. So what does nava mean in the Hitpael? To prophesy. So how would we translate the Hitpael perfect 3CP? They prophesied. Good. And if it's imperative 2MP, yeah, it's a command to you plural, prophesy. Okay, so those are my possibilities. Anybody have any questions about that? Does that make sense what we figured out here? Now, let me just point out one other thing. Is there any other stem where the imperative might look something like this? Hinav'u. Yeah, remember the nifal imperative? Look at your principal parts. The nifal imperative of pakad looks like what? It's hitpaked. Okay. What is there anything in the pay? What is it? It's a dagesh forte, right? Now that's to tell one person to do something. If I want to command second masculine plural, I'm going to add shurik at the end, and this sere is going to reduce to what? A vocal shava. Okay. So it does sort of sound like hinava'u, doesn't it? Hippakadu. What's the difference here? Hippakadu? Hinaba'u. Yeah, root 2 is doubled here. In the nifal, root 2 is not doubled, is it? Sometimes root 1 gets doubled, but root 2 is not characterized by doubling in the nifal. That is characteristic of which three stems? PL, pual, Hitpael. All right? And so if I ever have doubling in root 2 and a hey prefix, then I need to be thinking, that must be a Hitpael, and the first, the tav may have assimilated, okay? All right. So hopefully that'll just be a helpful warning. Let's recite number 4, everybody. Etchanein. Etchanein. What are my 3 root letters? Chet, nun, nun. Chanein. Good. And what precedes that? The eth prefix. So, what 2 things make this look Hitpaelish? Dagesh forte in root 2 and the infix tav. Okay. The prefix aleph with that infix tav tells me what? Imperfect or cohortative 1CS. Which one is it? I got to look at the back end to know which one is it not here if there's nothing here. That's right. What would the cohortative have at the end of root 3? A kamate. Okay, so this is not the cohortative. Good. And my root letters, Hanan. What does that mean? In the Hitpael? To implore or seek favor. So how will I translate this? Subject is, I, imperfect, will seek favor. Okay. By the way, the word chen in Hebrew is the word grace or favor. And is that a monosyllabic word? Is the vowel changeable? Yes. So really, there's an implicit doubling dot that wants to drop into that noon whenever I add any kind of pronominal suffixes. So it's the same root as this, Hanan. Okay, look at number 5, everybody. So let's say this together. Le hitpael. Okay, now this is a newer verb. What are the 3 root letters of the verb? Yeah, this is Hitpael. What does that mean? To hide. Okay, and the Hitpael to conceal who? To conceal oneself. Okay, so keep that in mind because we have a hith prefix before that. So that does commit me to a Hitpael analysis. But I've got a lamed preposition attached to it. What kind of forms can take a lamed preposition? What's that? Yeah, forms that are nominal or noun-like. So the infinitive construct could take an infinitive, can take a lamed preposition, right? Now here's the question: would a Hitpael infinitive have this type of pointing with a hey prefix and a Keurig under it? Look at your principal parts. What do you see? Does the infinitive construct have a hith prefix just like that? Yep. The perfect does. The imperative does. The infinitive construct does, doesn't it? And the infinitive absolute. Would I attach a lamed to an infinitive absolute? Nope. Can't attach anything to an infinitive absolute except vav, the conjunction, and the interrogative hey. So this is the Hitpael infinitive construct plus the preposition lamed. How am I going to translate this? To, it could be in order to what? Hide oneself. Okay? Now we don't know what kind of oneself this is because we have no context. What if I had maybe a sentence like, Eve went behind the tree, le hitpael, then how would you translate that? Eve went behind the tree to hide herself, right? You wouldn't say oneself because now you know what gender that person is. Adam went behind the wall, le hitpael, to hide himself. You see? I could even have a plural subject. They ran across the street, le hitpael, to hide themselves. Okay? All right. Now, next, number 6. We have hithkadeshu. Say that with me. Hithkadeshu. What are my 3 root letters? Kuf, dalet, shin. What does that have the idea of? Holy, holiness. Okay, but this is a verbal form. I have a hith prefix, shirk on the backside. Is there doubling in root 2? Yes, indeed. So this is a telltale sign with the hith and the doubling, root 2. That's a Hitpael, right? Now, which forms can take a hith with a hey and a shirk on the end? Perfect and what else? The imperative has a hey with a shirk under it too. If it's perfect, the shirk is 3 CP. If it's imperative, the shirk is 2 MP. So how am I going to translate this? Well, what does kadash mean in the cow? To be holy. And the PL, to make to be holy, which is to sanctify, consecrate. The Hitpael will probably have this reflexive nuance. To sanctify oneself. Okay? Perfect 3CP. They sanctified themselves. Right? Imperative, how would you translate that? Sanctify yourselves. Or consecrate yourselves. Okay, here you go. Let's look at 7. Everybody, va yith gadalu. What's my root letters? Gimel, Dalet, Lamed. And do you see any kind of an identifiable prefix here? Yeah? You see the yith, right? What does that make you think for the stem? The yith. Yeah, Hitpael. With the yod prefix. So there's no hey here. These are nutty prefixes, so I gotta be thinking that's using the imperfect prefixes, right? But I've got a va with a doubling dot in it, so this is a WCI. Yod in the front, shurik on the back. Which person, gender, number is that? 3MP. Very good. And again, Gimel, Dalet, Lamed are my root letters. What does gadol mean in the cal? To be great, to be or become great, and the PL to magnify, to make someone be great, and in the Hitpael, what do you think that might mean? To magnify oneself. Okay, so how might we translate this? 3MP, subject is who? They. WCIs are what time frame? Past. So they magnified themselves, right? I'm not going to write it all out. Okay, good. Now look at number 8. I have ha hith palalta. Say that. Ha hith palalta ba'adi. Okay. What am I looking at here? What's my verbal root? What's the core? Pei lamed lamed. Is it doubled in root 2? Yes. And that makes me want to go PL pual Hitpael. What does the hith commit me to? The Hitpael, right? Ta on the end of it. What conjugation is that? That's the perfect with what personal ending? To MS. So what is this hey in front of Hitpalalta? Is that the article hey? Would I put an article hey on the front of a verb form like this? Nope. What kind of a prefix hey could it be besides the article? Yes, this could be the interrogative hey. Remember that old interrogative hey? What does an interrogative hey do? Asks a question, turns a statement into what kind of a question? It's a yes-no question, okay? So let's drop the interrogative hey. Hitpalalta means what? You prayed, right? Remember, palal in the Hitpael means to pray. So you prayed. Now we need to make it into a yes-no question. You prayed? Right? Raise your intonation. Or did you pray? Okay. And then ba'adi means ba'ad plus a pronoun. What's ba'adi? For me. For my sake. So did you pray for me? If you did, why are all these bad things happening to me? All right. Okay. Number 9. Everybody, va et nabe. What are my 3 root letters? Nun, beit, aleph. I've got an et prefix and then a va in front of it. So, with the tav doubling in root 2, this is a what? Say it. Hitpael, everybody, come on. Hitpael. With the aleph, it's a Hitpael imperfect 1 CS. Good. With the vav in front of it, it's not an imperfect. It's a WCI. I wanted to see this with a doubling dot, right? Can I put one in the aleph? Nope. When it rejects it, I get the compensatory lengthening. Short A becomes long A. All right. From Nava. So how am I going to translate this? I prophesied. Good. And then, number 10, I have Hitpael. Say that with me. Hitpael. Okay. So what are my 3 root letters here? Pe lamed lamed. Good. Hith prefix? That's a Hitpael, right? Okay. What is the Kirik Yod doing here on the end? What could that be? When the Hitpael has the H prefix visible, what are my possibilities? Look at your principal parts. Hitpael could be the perfect. What else? Imperative and infinitive, construct and absolute, right? You got 4 possibilities. Does the imperative have a Kirik Yod as one of its personal endings? It does. But can I put a bet on the front of an imperative? I can't. What would it mean? If I'm telling a woman to eat and I put a bet in front of it, what would that mean? Eat. Okay, that doesn't make sense. So technically, without the bet, this could be an imperative to FS, right? But with that bet, can't do it. Same thing with the perfect. Even if I had a personal ending that reflected the perfect, I couldn't do anything with the bet. But as a matter of fact, does the perfect ever have a Kirik Yod personal ending? No, there are no Kirik Yods there either, right? So not perfect, not imperative. Can the infinitive absolute take anything on the front or the back? Nope, it only hangs out by itself, right? So infinitive construct is my only possibility. Is the Kirik Yod a part of the infinitive construct's basic form? No, it's an addition to it, right? What's the Kirik Yod attached to the end of an infinitive construct? It's a 1CS pronominal suffix, right? So whose act is this? It's mine. So my act of what? Hitpael of Palel, my act of praying. Add the bet to it, and that gives it temporal nuance. In my act of praying means when I pray. And I don't know if it's pray or prayed because I don't have any context, but it could go either way. Okay, 11. Everybody, Hithalech ba'aretz. So halach is my root. Does this look like a PL, pual, or Hitpael? Yep, looking like a Hitpael. But I have 4 possibilities with the hey, don't I? Is there any way to arbitrate here? If it's perfect, which personal ending is that no ending? 3ms. If it's an imperative, which personal ending is that no ending? 2ms. Good. If it's an infinitive construct, then there's just nothing else, right? And if it's an infinitive absolute, that's the way I would expect it. This could technically be all 4 of these. I wouldn't give this to you on a test, probably. Or maybe I would. I don't know. But how would we translate this? What does halach mean in the Hitpael? To walk to and fro. So this would be he walked, right? To and fro. The imperative? Yeah, walk to and fro. Infinitive construct? Yes, the act of walking to and fro. And then the infinitive absolute would really depend on being used in a sentence. Surely he walked to and fro. Okay. All right. Number 12, last but not least. Yenaba'u. What am I looking at here? What are my 3 root letters? That's right, Nun Beit Aleph. Is this a Hitpael? I've got doubling in root 2 here. No tav. What's happened to the tav? It's assimilated. So it should have been Yith Naba'u. And the Tav became a Nun, and they wrote it once and put a doubling dot in it. Good. So, Nava is my root. With a prefix yod and a shirk on the end, this is a Hitpael what? Imperfect 3 M P, right? How will you translate this? They will prophesy. That's right. They will prophesy. All right. So do you see the method to the madness here? Does this make sense? All right.